In the dimly lit streets of Dublin, where narrow alleyways echoed with the whispers of struggle and survival, a boy was growing up with dreams far bigger than the confines of his surroundings. His name was Conor McGregor. The world would come to know him as a fighter, a champion, a provocateur, a man whose very presence demanded attention. Yet, before the arenas, the fans, and the global acclaim, there was just a child learning to navigate hardship, learning to fight not for fame, but for identity. Dublin in the 1980s and 90s was unforgiving. Working-class neighborhoods, crowded streets, and the constant hum of daily struggle shaped the boy who would become one of the most controversial and influential figures in mixed martial arts. His family faced financial uncertainty. Every day was a negotiation between survival and aspiration, and young Conor quickly understood that resilience would be his closest companion. He discovered early that life would not hand him opportunity, he would have to carve it out with his own two hands, with every punch, every step, every decision fueled by determination. Fighting was more than sport. It became his language, his voice in a world that often ignored those without power. Even as a child, Conor exhibited a rare combination of focus, audacity, and fearlessness. He would train in small gyms, hitting bags relentlessly, learning technique, observing older fighters, absorbing every detail. The streets were a different kind of gym, lessons in unpredictability, timing, and aggression that could not be taught in any academy. Early bouts in local competitions were harsh. Losses were frequent, rejection was constant, yet each defeat carved a deeper understanding of himself. He learned that skill alone was not enough. Mindset, strategy, and psychological fortitude were equally critical. Every bruise, every scar, every failure became a lesson in adaptation, in refining technique, in mastering the mind as much as the body. Martial arts were no longer a pastime. They were his lifeline, the structure through which he defined himself. His teenage years brought both hardship and opportunity. Dublin was alive with the energy of possibility, yet also heavy with the weight of expectation and limitation. Conor worked odd jobs, saving every euro he could, investing it in training, in equipment, in gym time. Nights were spent running through the streets, visualizing movement, punches, combinations, internalizing every scenario he could imagine in the cage. The discipline he cultivated was extraordinary. Even as a young man, his focus on goals was relentless, almost obsessive. And though doubt would often creep in, he refused to allow fear to dictate his actions. He understood that the path to greatness demanded risk, demanded sacrifice, demanded a relentless commitment that few could sustain. The first major recognition came with Cage Warriors, where Conor's combination of precision striking, timing, and sheer confidence began to draw attention. Each victory was not merely a win in the record books, it was a statement, a message that Dublin had produced a fighter capable of challenging the world's best. His style was distinctive, a blend of traditional martial arts discipline with an unpredictable creativity, a psychological game that unnerved opponents even before the first punch was thrown. Media began to notice, but it was more than publicity that fueled him. It was the drive to test himself against the strongest, to prove that preparation, courage, and self-belief could overcome any obstacle. His UFC debut was transformative. The global stage amplified every movement, every gesture, every word. He was no longer just a fighter. He became a performer, a strategist, a force whose presence altered the dynamic of every bout. The victories came swiftly, the fame intensified, and with it, the pressures of expectation. He held titles in multiple weight divisions, becoming one of the first in UFC history to achieve such a feat. The world watched not only his fights but his persona, brash, confident, often provocative. Yet behind the theatrics, there was method, a keen understanding of psychological warfare, of how to control narrative, momentum, and perception. Fighting became more than combat. It was theater, strategy, and mastery over both self and opponent. Yet, as the spotlight grew brighter, the cost became undeniable. Injuries tested his physical limits. Losses exposed vulnerabilities. Media scrutiny was relentless, a constant echo in a life where silence had once been precious. Behind the flashing cameras and roaring crowds, Conor faced moments of doubt, of isolation, of questioning whether the sacrifices were worth the accolades. Fame was intoxicating but exacted a price, and the narrative of invincibility was only partially true. The boy from Dublin was human, subject to the same fears, pressures, and struggles that every ambitious individual encounters, magnified millions of times over on a global stage. Rebirth came through discipline, reflection, and evolution. Training camps became more sophisticated, techniques refined, strategies analyzed with scientific precision. The mental game was honed alongside the physical. Comebacks were planned meticulously. Every movement, every angle, every detail was rehearsed, perfected, and executed with ruthless efficiency. Victories following setbacks were more than wins. They were proof of resilience, evidence that mastery is earned through perseverance, focus, and the refusal to succumb to adversity. The impact of McGregor extends beyond the octagon. Visuals of sold-out arenas, chanting fans, social media reactions, and young fighters emulating his style testify to a cultural phenomenon. His technical mastery, timing, precision, adaptability, is studied and dissected, yet the essence of his influence lies in the audacity of his self-belief, the courage to redefine limits, and the charisma that transforms every appearance into an event. He demonstrates that mixed martial arts is not solely about strength but about intelligence, strategy, psychological warfare, and fearless self-expression. Slow-motion shots of Dublin at dawn offer reflection, empty streets, soft light, the solitary figure of a man walking toward the gym, embodying resilience and relentless ambition. Conor McGregor is more than a fighter, he is a symbol of human potential, the embodiment of the idea that determination, courage, and focus can transcend circumstance. He did not only fight opponents in the cage, he fought internal limits, societal expectations, and personal fears. Each punch, each battle, each victory was a step in the relentless pursuit of greatness. And as the arena lights fade and the roar of the crowd subsides, we are reminded that courage is not a gift bestowed upon the chosen few. It is forged in moments unseen, in silent struggle, in the relentless pursuit of goals that demand everything from those who dare to chase them. Conor McGregor's journey is not merely a chronicle of fights. It is a testament to resilience, discipline, and the audacity of human ambition. From the streets of Dublin to the brightest global arenas, from a boy dreaming against odds to a man who shaped an entire sport, his story illuminates the power of focus, the necessity of courage, and the truth that greatness is achieved not by avoiding struggle, but by facing it head-on. In every punch, every feint, every victory, and every defeat, McGregor has shown that to redefine limits, to inspire the world, one must be willing to risk everything, endure the harshest trials, and maintain an unwavering belief in one's own potential. His legacy is not only in titles or records but in the inspiration he provides, the standards he sets, and the doors he opens for those who dare to follow. He has transformed ambition into art, discipline into spectacle, and audacity into legend. And in that transformation, we see the essence of Conor McGregor. A fighter, a visionary, and above all, a man who refused to settle, who refused to surrender, and who continues to redefine what it means to chase greatness. From the quiet streets of his childhood to the global stage of the octagon, from the solitude of training to the intensity of championship bouts, Conor McGregor's story is an epic of resilience, strategy, and human potential. It is a reminder that the greatest battles are not always fought in front of cheering crowds, but within, in the relentless pursuit of mastery, the courage to face fear, and the discipline to push beyond limits. He did not simply fight to win. He fought to become, to inspire, and to leave an indelible mark on the world of sport and beyond. Every strike, every movement, every calculated risk reflects a journey of relentless ambition and uncompromising dedication. McGregor's story teaches that greatness is not granted, it is claimed, forged in sweat, resilience, and the unwavering refusal to give in to doubt. And as the final shots linger on the octagon, the empty arena illuminated by a single spotlight, we are left with a truth as enduring as the man himself. Courage is earned, greatness is forged, And the legacy of Conor McGregor will forever stand as a testament to the human spirit's capacity to rise, to fight, and to achieve the extraordinary against all odds. His name will not merely be remembered for victories or titles, but for the audacity of vision, the intensity of dedication, and the power of relentless self-belief that transformed a boy from Dublin into a global legend, a man whose life continues to inspire, challenge, and redefine what is possible.